Alright, my last video on the Disney slop that is The Acolyte, and a deep dive into truly how bad this writing is as a whole.
He gently takes hold of her arm, the red blade still throbbing right in front of his throat.
The most popular rebuttal the last 7 weeks have been wait till the show is out to fully judge it, and it's fully out, so now I can show how shit it is in totality. Episode 8 is called The Acolyte. Get it? 'Cause the show name? Anyway, we open up with Osha and the Sith guy's mask on, and then she has like a panic attack. Chimere does the witch thing where his eyes turn black, and then he saves her, I don't know. And she said she saw the future. Hey Anakin, guess what? You're not special anymore. Liar! While that's going on, Sol is talking to May where she escapes with her droid. Again, making the Jedi look stupid. Why would Sol let her have this? Ugh. She escapes and we get a space cat and mouse chase, and when Sol is about to shoot her or tractor beam her, the gerbil guy just decides to break the wires. First, how does he know this will disable what he's doing? And second, why the fuck did he just randomly change sides? He sold out May in episode 6, if that's what they were trying to infer. He also did his weird dance and stepped on her foot, but I don't think the show's made to make sense at this point. Green Lady encounters a senator who has a problem with the Jedi, worrying if one goes rogue, who will be able to stop them. This is important as to what they do at the end makes no sense to ease this guy's concerns with the Jedi, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Osha is leading Chimere to a planet she saw May on, but she won't tell him the planet's location. I'm guessing this is because he wants to kill her due to the actions he takes in episode 5, but he also wanted to kill Osha in episode 5, so I'm not sure what his goals are. When they leave, we get to see Plagueis. Oh my god, we need a season 2, man! Yeah, they showed Plagueis, who should be 15 or 20 years old at this point. So why does he look so decrepit? I also bet they're gonna do the whole Plagueis saw these twins who were created by the Force, and he wants to replicate it. I'm so tired how they just want to place a show before the actual canon of Star Wars and insert their new characters, making it so they're the original ones, and then the ones that we see in those later movies aren't as special anymore. It feels like a 13-year-old fanfic, although that would be insulting to 13-year-old fanfics. Anyway, Sol turns his transponder back on, and why did he turn it off in the first place? I guess it was to talk to May, but he had multiple opportunities to turn it back on before the chase, during the chase, because his goal here is he wanted the Jedi to find them on Brendok to prove the Vergence, which also doesn't make any sense because aren't their blood samples a form of evidence? Skipping ahead, we get another fight scene between Gimp Man and Sol. What the shit is that? Then May and Osha fight in the stiffest kung fu fight I've ever seen in my life. They stop, they see a ship coming, and then May kind of disappears, and then she stops Sol and makes him confess to killing her mom. Again, he did nothing wrong. What her mom did was the equivalent of me taking a fake bomb out in front of the police, and then when I get shot say, "It's just a prank, bro." But then Osha kills Sol by force choking him, and then she bleeds Sol's lightsaber. Now I know bleeding is a Disney thing, but it doesn't really make sense. Wouldn't Anakin have bled his lightsaber after killing the children? But I guess I'm asking too many questions. Green Lady and her group of Jedi arrive. They have the gerbil dude sniff a pack. I don't know where they got this from, but that would require me to watch the episode again, so never mind. Osha and May have a reunion at the life tree thing from episode 3. And I genuinely have no feelings for this scene. They don't take the time to make this emotional throughout the whole series, so it really just feels hollow. Osha agrees to be trained by the Sith guy if he lets May go, so he mind wipes May and leaves her to be captured. Is the point here that Osha agrees to train in the dark side if he lets her sister get captured by the Jedi?
That doesn't make sense.
I don't know, it just hurts my brain thinking about it. Then we find out how they covered up the Jedi murders by saying Sol did it, because of what happened on Brendok, but they didn't do anything morally wrong. Their biggest sin is their incompetence, but I think that's just the intelligence of the writers leaking through. We end the season with Green Lady going in to talk to Yoda, and fuck off. Yoda's just been in that room meditating and doing fuck all. In Revenge of the Sith, Yoda was able to sense the Jedi dying, but here he is just sitting in his room probably playing Torben's PS5. Jesus Christ. The foundation of any story is characters. Who you can identify with, and whose decisions you agree with, and who you disagree with. In this story, I believe their goal was to morally challenge the Jedi. This is fundamentally flawed. People like to bring up how George portrayed the Jedi as flawed in the prequels. This is true, but I ask the question, how are they flawed in the prequels compared to this show? And it would be in the prequels that the Jedi are obsessed with their status. They want to have the respect of the Republic and the Senate. This leads them to become generals of war when their title is supposed to be peacekeeper, a blatant hypocrisy. And it can be argued that that confuses someone such as Anakin. In this show, what have the Jedi done wrong in a moral way? As I said before, the worst is their incompetence, such as taking a suspected Jedi killer and putting her in a droid ship. The show later uses this as a moral argument for Chimere to use against Osha. When this wasn't imprisonment, it was a transport to a trial. They also mention that the eyewitness testimony clarifies as strong evidence, which I highly doubt. Along with this, the writers constantly forget that the Jedi have the power to read minds. They do it in the other parts of the show, but some parts they just decide, nah. Characters in this show have no values. They can switch on a dime or be convinced to flip their position from 1 to 3 lines of dialogue. Let's compare this to characters from another Disney property, Iron Man and Thanos. Both show conviction in the ways they want to save the world. Tony believes it's his job to save the world and his responsibility to atone for the harm his weapons caused.
I just finally know what I have to do, and I know in my heart that it's right.
Thanos, in a similar way, wants to atone for his failure after his world fell apart. He was the only survivor, and because of this, he wants to correct that and commits these acts on his conviction and belief of these values. Imagine if Thanos simply just changed his beliefs so drastically from when Gamora or Doctor Strange challenged him on them. That would make for a pretty lackluster villain, right? But we also don't know what these characters value as compared to Tony and Thanos. Very well written characters. What do these characters value? Based on the flashbacks, Sol really just wants a Padawan, Torben really wants to go home, Andara wants to listen to the council, and Kalnaka wants to cook? I don't know. This is a basic instance of show don't tell. The script tells us these characters' motivations rather than showing them. They also don't make sense in plot. Torben wanting to go home is a bad motivation due to the fact that they have proof from the blood samples that there was a vergence. There was no reason to have him rush away when the blood sample was proof. A better character motivation choice for him that would still move the plot along is maybe the Jedi rescued him from, a bad household. So he'd feel the need to rush to protect the children after he just got mind violated by the witch lady. They also don't handle the morally complexness of this right. I don't see what the Jedi do wrong, so the whole season finale just falls flat. Like, why does Torben want to kill himself? Why? Either the writers have the morality sense of a fucking snail, or, well, they do, because the Jedi don't act like the Jedi. But if we throw that in the back seat, for now, the moral problem with this is the witches are evil. They are portrayed as evil. They mess with a teenager's mind. They threaten the Jedi when they ask.
You cannot deny that Jedi have the right to test potential Padawans, with your permission, of course.
Also, this line makes no sense. It's like I went up to somebody and I said, I have a right to your food. With your permission, of course. This leaves me the last 3 characters that are important, Osha, May, and Darth Gimp. None of them are consistent throughout the show. They all switch very quickly and with very little pretense. The characters don't feel like characters, they feel like tools for the plot. The actions they take don't service them, they service the plot. Such as Osha randomly switching and liking Chimere after he kills all of her friends, with a very shallow moral reason for it. May randomly switching and wanting to turn herself in, to going after Sol. Or Chimere not being exactly clear on who he wants to kill and why he wants to kill them. The Jedi in episode 2 make a choice that only services the plot, not their character. When they let Chimere off with a warning, so he could tell them where May is, they only do this so the rest of the show can happen. There's much more, but I'm pretty sure most people agree with me. I'm glad the show's over. I love Star Wars, and I still have hope for better shows, but we shall see. I'll see you guys in my next video, where I think I'll be reviewing Deadpool and Wolverine, but that's all I got for this one. Thank you guys for watching, and peace out.
Not about money. It's about sending a message.